What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward. I'm also going to talk about some earnings that just came out, which are going to be quite significant for the market moving forward. And also what's happening with the data and the technicals right now for SPY, SoFi, Nvda, the QQQ, Tesla, and a couple of other tickers out there. But before breaking things down all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so make sure you take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. The offer ends very soon, in just about 2 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, looking at SPY, this thing is currently trying to get above its 20 EMA on the 30 minutes time frame, getting a nice bounce off this 456 support right over here, very close to our demand zone. And so far, the market is just trying to hold up, but it's not really looking like too far in either direction. If anything, we did get the small pop near the open, testing our 458 resistance. Then we did see some downside intraday. I said this was very likely to happen, but I was also looking for a potential bounce near the end of the day, as this is the last day in July, and we may see a lot of these fund managers try to improve their balance sheets. But now the question is, how is the market moving? What caused the market to move the way it is? And what is some important data that isn't impacting the markets? So we have Chicago PMI that came out a little bit lower than expected, showing a bigger contraction than what many investors were looking for. Then the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index was once again a little bit lower than what the forecast was, but very, very close, if anything. So I think this data caused a little bit of volatility. I don't think it was like super, super significant, like a CPI report or anything like that. And besides that, I mean, most stocks out there are quite flat. They're not really doing anything too crazy so far. We do have more earnings coming out. That's going to affect more markets in different sectors, but the bigger thing is going to happen a little bit later during the week between Wednesday and Thursday. I would say starting then is when things are going to get crazier. So the market may be kind of slow as we approach those days. But for now, we do have some interesting earnings to discuss. Right now, we had SoFi, which are doing pretty well so far. I think it's right here. They basically popped more than 18%. Their overall earnings were actually not that great. They had a more narrow than expected loss on their EPS, but that's completely fine for them because their full year guidance is very strong. Investors are very forward looking and still very, very excited about what SoFi is going to bring us going into next year. Now, on or ON, they're basically up about 3.2%. They basically beat on EPS and revenue, which is very good for the semiconductor market, good for stocks like AMD and Nvidia, even though they are kind of like trailing a bit. However, things will get very excited once AMD has earnings very soon. Disney's also up about 3% after they reported that they basically are going to be bringing back some very important executives. Besides that, most of these earnings have been pretty decent so far. Then we also had Xpeng right over here got a downgrade from UBS. That is part of why it's down, but other Chinese tickers are still holding up. There's also some new news that came out right about here. As you're seeing, Tesla resumes the filings of building permits at its Fremont factory. So good news for them. That could be part of why Tesla's trying to hold up so far. So now how's the market looking? We're basically just very, very sideways, right? We're not really making any crazy moves. The high of the day was around 458. The low of the day was at 456.24. Very, very flat, going back and forth and back and forth. And as you can see, the market was trying to get a bounce off this 456.24 support. We're going to be watching that as our support. If we do break below our 50 EMA, then we have 456.7 to be retested. If that fails us, then we're going to be watching this low right here and then potentially 456. Now, if we get a nice bounce and we try to continue to hold up, we're going to be watching this resistance right about here around this 457.5 area. Get above that, then we could be retesting this 458 resistance to 458.16. What do I think the market's going to do? My answer is I think it's going to be kind of sideways and very boring for the next hour or so. But then going into power hour, during the final hour, I think there could be a little bit more excitement. I think the market's going to try to hold up a little bit better and try to push a little bit to the upside because it is, once again, the last day of the month. And there's a good chance the market is going to try to hold up. I mean, so far, we're still holding up overall compared to where we were like during parts of last week. Last week, we actually saw SPY drop at some points down to like 451. And so far today, we're just very flat but holding up. So I think there's a good chance we're going to see the market make an attempt to basically do so. Now, looking at SoFi, this chart is looking quite nice, holding up very nicely, forming this nice potential bullish looking triangle setup. But we need to break a little bit higher for this to get more like more confirmation, I would say. 11.7 is what it's going to be testing. If it breaks above that, it could make its way up to about 12. But don't forget, you're going to be watching VWAP on this as well. This has been a very important support zone for it. So on the smaller time frames, you're going to be watching VWAP. Uh, don't forget about that. It did shop around this for quite a while. It's trying to make its way up to this imbalance, holding up quite nicely. And if it continues to break out, the 12s are a possibility. We have to break the high of the day first. Overall, still nice. AMC is up 7%. I think there should be some update from the courts from Zern. So something may have happened that's good for them. I haven't checked that yet. Looking at Tesla, it's holding up quite nicely, but unfortunately for Tesla, it is still not able to break above the 50 EMA yet. It needs some kind of catalyst. You could see it wanted to break out today. It tried to break out, came right back down, got a rejection, came right back up. Testing the 50 EMA at this 268 zone is where our resistance is. Tesla's continuing to fight it. It may try to break out soon, but we need a catalyst. We need some kind of good news. There's a good chance it's going to happen, but just for safety, I would just be patient and wait for it. But for now, it's looking quite good. We also have this imbalance up and around this 280 area. Let's break 274 first to try to get there. We also have a potential double bottom setup. Looks more bullish than bearish, but just to be safe, we need more confirmation for a breakout on Tesla. We haven't broken our 50 EMA yet. Tesla is basically just trading sideways. It's holding up, but it's trading sideways simultaneously. Looking at NEO is finally slowing down just a little bit, but it's not looking too bad. This is completely normal after the stock's been running very hard. And we're going to be watching it over the next few days when they have those deliveries numbers that could push this thing much, much higher. For the triple Q, we failed. You could see right here, we failed to break 385, got a rejection off of it. And we're actually holding around 383. So it's basically just trading sideways, not doing anything too fun or too crazy. If you want to be really bullish, you have to break 385 and then continue pushing into the higher levels. If you want to be bearish, you want to see it break below 382. So far, it's holding up very, very sideways. And there is a chance it may try to pop near the very end of the day, but we're just going to watch it and be patient for that. Nvidia is testing 368 as our resistance. That's the previous resistance zone on it. We're going to be watching that very, very carefully to see how it ends up responding to that. Now, as far as it goes, though, if it breaks 468, did I say 3? I mean 468. 468 is our resistance. If we break that, then we have like 470, and above that, we have 475, and then potentially those higher levels as from before. But looking down at support, we have 466 is a very tight one right here. 465 is some very, very tight levels for today. And then below those levels, our next major support is going to be very close to like 464. Then below that, we have like 461. Then the 455 area below 457.5. So those are some levels on Nvidia. It's basically very tight right now. Here's the thing about it. Like I said before, if you zoom out and we just get rid of these little drawings, you will notice that we have a very, very nice looking accumulation right over here. It is possible for it to retrace a bit to the 20 EMA into like the mid or lower like 460s first before it tries to bounce. But ultimately, it looks like it's trying to make its way up to about 478 to 480. It's continuing to uptrend quite nicely. The chart looks quite decent so far, and that's what the trend is suggesting. Now, if you want to change your opinion, well, one of the things you have to look out for would be this like 50 EMA right over here. If it breaks below 458, then there is a chance it could start coming down. But for now, it's holding up, and it looks more bullish than bearish to me. So far, most of these stocks are holding up quite nicely. If you look in Meta, it is coming down. I mentioned to you that Meta may cool off all the way down to about 320 or so. That's where it currently is. And then we're going to be looking for a bounce on it. I want to see it try to bounce either off this 320 support, if not around 315.95 at our 20 EMA. One of these two should be the like levels where it tries to bounce a little bit by the end of the day. We're going to be watching it carefully. And until then, thank you all for listening. Have a great day. Market to the moon as long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.